All praises to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Let's get right into this video.
Peter for the Stock Bros. Yo, so Peter Thiel just sold off 911 for the Stock Bros. Yo, so Peter Thiel just sold off his entire stake in Nvidia. Okay, so first and foremost, this means that the crash is coming. Like, the real crash is coming. We've been telling you that the economy is built on fucking paper mache and sandcastles for a while now, but people who are looking at the numbers and who have the best of the best looking at the numbers for them are starting to show the signs. Second of all, congratulations to everyone who has been patiently waiting on the downfall of MAGA and Project 2025. Because I can almost promise you that this means this man is getting ready to make a fucking run for it. They know what's coming. The date here, November 17th, that's not a coincidence, baby girl. Tomorrow is D-Day for the Epstein files. And what's in there is a plot against America, okay? And there's a couple other countries involved. And people like Peter Thiel and Steve Bannon were connected to all of it. So yeah, they're panicking, they're shitting their pants, they're selling their shit, they're getting out of here.
Right, so, as you can see, this was November 17th. I believe today is November 20th or 21st, so this really wasn't long ago at all. And if you don't know who Peter Thiel is, I believe he's CEO behind Palantir. Right. So the fact that you have a major CEO like Peter Thiel selling all of his stake in Nvidia, I mean, that should sound some red alarms, or you know what I mean? Because you gotta understand, the people who own most of the stock isn't the average person. The people who own most of the stock are the rich. So when you have these rich people selling their stock off, that's a really big problem, right? And as soon as other average people start catching off with the stock, then everything's going to start getting sold off, right? So we know that this collapse is coming. So don't expect just Peter Thiel selling off the stock. Expect other billionaires and tech billionaires to start selling off their stock too. Because what these billionaires will do is they'll sell off their shares and have you be left off with really nothing. And that's why I want to transition into this.
Who are looking at the number?
You've already signed up for the digital ID without even knowing it. Here's how. There won't be a sign-up sheet or app that you have to download. Digital ID will be created for you by our generous government. It will simply be given to you without your required participation or consent. Once implemented, one by one, all the systems you use, financial, health, education, the internet, shopping, etc., will all require it. Without it, you'll be cut out of the system. This is happening right now in Russia and India. How will they do this? It's quite clever and simple. And this is how it's already been done in other countries like Denmark and Italy, where they issued 40 million digital IDs. All the government needs is to pair your government ID with biometric data. They can then combine your legal identity with your biometric data and create your digital ID. That's it. Poof, and it's done. So how are they already doing this? Well, the necessary ingredients came online when the Real ID Act was implemented, because it is no longer just a state ID, but now a national federal ID. And where do you need it? At the airport. The airport is where TSA set up their biometric face scanners. That's the data that's combined when you show your Real ID or another federal ID. That combination is the recipe for a digital ID, and you're creating it without even realizing it. So, The most important step you can take is to opt out of TSA's facial scanners every time you fly and never provide biometric data to anyone. Without the biometrics, no digital ID can be created. If you want to remain free of total surveillance and control, you must opt out now.
All right, so here's the thing is we do know that the digital ID is not this mark of the beast, but the mark of the beast is the CHIP. Now, I'm going to say this. For one, we do know that, like I said earlier, Peter Thiel is selling off all stocks and things like that. The economy is eventually going to be collapsing, right? And the stock market is going to be dropping a lot. I mean, I think Bitcoin dropped, correct me if I'm wrong, 20,000. So here's the thing, right? Salakia. But here's the thing, when you have all these stocks starting to fall, and basically, by the way, every company in some way is connected to a stock, right? So when all those stocks get sold off, they're going to bring in the new system with the digital ID, or they're going to start implementing the digital ID right now, right? And then that new system will be realized when the CHIP is here, right? So this guy at the end of the video says you can opt out of the digital ID, and I'm just going to say this: no, you can't. You cannot opt out the digital ID. There is no preventive measure you could take to opt out the digital ID. All right, it's coming either way. The digital ID is eventually going to involve the CHIP. Remember, the digital ID itself is not the CHIP. I mean, Slacky, remember the digital ID itself is not the mark, but the mark is the CHIP, right? So here's the thing: Slovakia, your digital ID is going to be tied to your bank account, right? I mean, there must have been at some point where you used a thumbprint on your phone, right? I'm not sure. But the thing is, you know, it's too late to start taking preventive measures now not to have a digital ID, because they're just going to give it to you. You're just going to have the digital ID. And then when the digital ID comes out, you're going to have all these demands, right? And the digital ID is going to be saying, in order to use the digital ID, take your shots. In order to use the digital ID, this is how much food you're supposed to eat, or this is a certain types of food. And then what's going to end up happening is the digital ID is going to eventually transition into the CHIP. Because remember, they don't want it to just surveil you. They want to surveil you in the body. All right? They want complete, absolute control over you. Right? So this is why you'll hear a lot of you'll hear talk saying that the phone's going to be done away with, right? Well, how will the phone be done away with if we still only have the digital ID? The only way the phone can be done away with is if that person has the CHIP. So let's get out the scripture here. It says, Matthew chapter 6, verse 19, lay not up for yourselves treasures upon earth, where moth and rust doeth corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust doeth corrupt, and where thieves do not break through nor steal. For your treasure is there, where your heart be also, right? You have a lot of people whose heart is in the world. You have a lot of people whose heart is in the stock market. You have a lot of people whose heart is in cryptocurrency, right? And there's nothing wrong with, having some money in the stock market, having some money in cryptocurrency, right? But what the problem is, because we try to make a little money here and there, but what the problem is trusting in those riches. But the problem is thinking that those riches are going to be there forever. What the problem is thinking that this system is never going to collapse, and this system will collapse. What the problem is that you think you'll be achieving the American dream with your money in the stock market, with your money in cryptocurrency, and you'll think you'll become a success in Babylon. And that's the problem, because your heart isn't in Yahweh Shai if you think like that. Your heart is in Babylon if you think you're going to become a success in Babylon. And by the way, when I say heart, I mean mind, right? So our true goal, our heart, our mind shouldn't be in this world of trying to be a success. Our mind, our heart should be making sure we're right with Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, wanting and waiting to get the heck out of this world. And when I say out of this world, I mean when Yahweh Shai comes to destroy Esau and take up the elect. So our heart should be one to make sure we're right so we could get up on those chariots. Now, of course, the elect is predestined, so you get the point, right? And remember, I just want to say the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are the true Israelites of the Bible. And just because you may not look like a Native, just because you may not look like a Native Slovakia, just because you may not look like a Native American, just because you may not look like a Hispanic, or just because you may not look like a black person does not mean you're not an Israelite. For Israelites will come in the shade of every color, different tongues. What matters is that the spirit, what matters is that this truth reaches out to you, right? So 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 10, for the love of money is Salakia. For the love of money is the root of all evil, which, while some coveted after, they have erred from the faith and pierced themselves through with many sorrows, right? So the thing is I see a headline like every month or so, right? Where, you know, crypto crashes, and then you have some people that unalive themselves because of the crypto crashing, right? You see, when the love of money is in your heart and in your mind, and you try to, you trust your life in cryptocurrency, a lot of these, you pierce your throat through many sorrows. One of those sorrows is unaliving yourself just because your crypto crashed, right? You got to understand, Esau's kingdom isn't about your joy. Esau's kingdom was built upon many sorrows. So since Esau's kingdom is built upon many sorrows, what do you think you're going to get from Esau if you try to believe in his system? I'll tell you, only many sorrows back. This is why it's so important to put your trust and faith and keep the commandments to the best of your ability. Right? So all praises to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Keep your faith and trust in Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. And hope this lesson is edifying to the elect and 144,000. And thank you to others, apostles, and burden help teach this truth and shalom.